Hi, Eli Glazer here with this week's Soveo video podcast. Thanks for tuning in. There's a famous verse in the Torah that teaches us that Hashem places before everyone a blessing and a curse. And the blessing is if we follow the ways of God, and the curse is if we don't follow the ways of God and we stray and we follow after other gods, after Avodah Zorah. And at the end it says, Asher lo yidatem, that we do not know. If you follow after other gods that you do not know. So how is that a curse? And specifically, how are we supposed to follow something that we're unfamiliar with, that we don't know? If we're following something, by definition, that means we know it. We're engaged in it. We're attracted to it. So what does that mean? What's the verse really teaching us? So one answer is to understand that every human being is made b'tselem Elokim. Every human being is made with the image of God. All of us have a wonderful, pure soul inside of us. So the mistakes that we make, the transgressions, right, the errors that we commit in the relationships in life or with ourselves, in whatever environment, in whatever capacity, those aren't really reflections of who we are. They're barriers between who we are and who we want to become. One of the biggest mistakes so many people make is to identify with their mistakes and say, well, that's really reflective of who they are. And certainly as parents, we never want to chastise our children and call them bad people. They're great people who are making bad choices. And that's who we are. We're wonderful, great people who are making inappropriate and, not constructive choices. Now, we still have to take responsibility for them. We have to take accountability for them. We have to be corrected. That's with anything in life. There has to be accountability. But it doesn't reflect who we really are. And that's what the verse is telling us, that the intrinsic you, the intrinsic us, the natural pure soul that we all have, is really unfamiliar with that which we're straying after. If it's not in our best interest, if it not, in the end, is going to allow us to achieve our purpose in life. So that's what the verse is teaching us, that we don't know them. Even though we're following after something, us, our true intrinsic selves, there's no magnetism there. We're not connected to it. There could be a drive, there could be a desire, but it's not really reflective of our internal self and an internal desire. And the greatest proof of that is that following any transgression that we commit, certainly in the realm of eating, how do we feel afterward? Are we satisfied? Are we happy? Are we content? No. We're filled with remorse, regret, disdain. I can't believe I did that again. There's no greater indicator that those actions that we engage in that are inconsistent with our priorities are not reflective of who we really are, because we don't feel good about them. Because that feeling is really touching our soul. That's our soul's expression of happiness, of satisfaction, or of discontent, or of sadness. So therefore, I think an important role that we all really should try to embrace in ourselves is getting to know ourselves and being what I call comfortable in our own skin. Be comfortable with who you are. It doesn't matter what your body type is, what your body size is, where you live, what your demographic is, what you do, but be comfortable with yourself. Again, wanting to improve, wanting to grow, and that will help us, shrink our skin, as it were. Shrink our body size. Because the more we're content with ourselves, the less prone we'll be to harm ourselves with food. The less apt will be to follow after temporary pleasures and gratifications that in the end are inconsistent with our priorities, that make us feel lacking and give us that bitter taste of regret and remorse. Love yourself, be happy with yourself, be content with yourself. Realize that all of us, everyone who's watching, you especially, are beautiful, pure soul. And act in the way that gives your soul the greatest pleasure and happiness and satisfaction, not one that's pursuing temporary pleasures or gratifications that in the end, that you know without any doubt will leave you unsatisfied, will leave you not content, will leave you with that bitter taste of sadness, resentment, and remorse. And therefore, that will give you the greatest blessing. Thanks for watching and have a great week.